The brewing storm between China and North Korea. Hey everyone, welcome back to Eagle Discovery. Today we're exploring a fascinating yet intense standoff in East Asia. China is not pleased with North Korea for sending troops to support Russia in Ukraine, and this move is stirring up major concerns across the region. With China striving to be the powerhouse of Asia, any disruption, especially from its unpredictable ally North Korea, threatens to derail this goal. Stick around as we dive into this complex geopolitical game, full of alliances and conflicts that are reshaping Asia. Growing tensions between China and North Korea. The intensifying strain between China and North Korea has emerged as a significant geopolitical challenge for Beijing, which has long prioritized stability across Asia. As North Korea gravitates closer to Russia, particularly through support in the Ukraine conflict, China faces a potential disruption to its long-standing regional strategy. Traditionally, North Korea has served as a buffer for China, helping to counterbalance Western influence in Asia. However, North Korea's recent actions have shifted this relationship, placing China in an awkward and precarious position. For Beijing, the ramifications of North Korea's behavior go beyond immediate regional impacts, extending into broader strategic concerns. One of China's main anxieties is the potential for North Korea's moves to draw a stronger U.S. military presence into South Korea and the nearby waters. Such a development would position American forces uncomfortably close to China's borders, introducing additional unpredictability and potentially limiting China's own security maneuvers. This prospect could also undermine China's ambitions by constraining its influence over other regional players, adding pressure to its security and economic strategies. China's concerns over North Korea's recent decisions also intersect with its broader ambitions, particularly regarding Taiwan. For Beijing, Taiwan represents not only a strategic territory, but also a cornerstone of ideological and territorial unity. China has steadily worked to bring Taiwan closer within its sphere of influence, envisioning eventual reunification. However, the instability generated by North Korea's actions, potentially prompting increased U.S. involvement in the region, may complicate this objective. An enhanced American presence could solidify Western security guarantees for Taiwan, further bolstering the island's defenses and presenting an obstacle to China's plans. This situation presents a complex web of strategic decisions for China, with far-reaching stakes. China's next moves, whether it chooses to tolerate North Korea's provocations or enforce a stricter stance, could have a lasting impact on the regional power balance. These simmering tensions might influence China's broader approach, affecting its strategies for Taiwan, regional security policies, and its position in the broader U.S.-China rivalry. In this volatile environment, China finds itself at a crossroads. Maintaining its relationship with North Korea could risk undermining regional stability, while a more assertive approach may compromise its carefully calibrated aspirations for dominance in East Asia. North Korea's role in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. North Korean military involvement in Ukraine has reached unprecedented levels, with recent reports suggesting that soldiers from North Korea are not only providing logistical support, but are actively participating in combat alongside Russian forces. These reports, corroborated by Ukrainian forces, reveal that North Korean personnel are directly involved in missile operations against Ukrainian targets, an action that underscores North Korea's growing engagement in international conflicts. While North Korean government representatives continue to deny their troops' combat presence in Ukraine, the activities observed on the ground suggest otherwise, indicating a significant shift in North Korea's stance. Experts have noted that this level of involvement could have far-reaching consequences. As one military analyst put it, once you're firing missiles, you're no longer a passive supporter, you're an active participant. This development has not only drawn attention globally, but has also caused concern within China, North Korea's largest ally, and a country that has invested heavily in maintaining stability on the Korean peninsula. China's interests lie in balancing regional power without provoking further conflicts, but North Korea's actions risk upsetting this delicate balance. If North Korea's military ambitions continue to grow unchecked, it could lead to unforeseen consequences in East Asia, increasing tensions and drawing international condemnation. North Korea's increasing involvement in the Russia-Ukraine conflict raises crucial questions about its motives and future ambitions. By positioning itself more assertively on the global stage, Pyongyang seems to be signaling a shift towards a more independent, perhaps even unpredictable, international strategy. This bold stance could lead to strains in its historically close relationship with Beijing, as China faces a dilemma between supporting its longtime ally and avoiding entanglement in a conflict that risks drawing in Western powers. For China, the traditional role of supporting North Korea in international disputes becomes more complex as Pyongyang pursues an agenda that could diverge from China's priorities. Beijing has long relied on North Korea as a buffer state, helping to counterbalance U.S. influence in the region. However, North Korea's evolving alignment with Russia suggests a broader strategy, potentially aimed at securing more strategic autonomy and diversifying its sources of support. This shift poses new challenges for China, which may find its leverage over North Korea diminishing as Pyongyang strengthens its ties elsewhere. The broader implications of North Korea's recent actions suggest a new chapter in its international strategy, one that could challenge China's influence and complicate efforts to maintain peace and stability in East Asia. As North Korea tests the boundaries of its alliances, it risks disrupting the delicate balance that has so far kept tensions in the region from boiling over. For China, this presents a difficult choice: seek to rein in its ally, risking friction with Pyongyang, or allow North Korea to continue its course, which could invite greater international scrutiny and potential confrontations that may draw Beijing into the fray. In either case, North Korea's bold new trajectory is reshaping the dynamics of East Asian geopolitics, leaving regional powers and global stakeholders alike to ponder the future stability of the region. 3. Analysis of North Korean involvement. In essence, despite Pyongyang's official denials, North Korean soldiers taking part in missile operations are effectively engaged in combat. By operating missile systems that directly influence battlefield outcomes, they fulfill roles that are integral to active warfare rather than simply supporting functions. This participation underscores an active combat role, irrespective of North Korea's public stance. The Ukrainian military has responded by reportedly carrying out precision strikes on sites where North Korean personnel are believed to be stationed. These attacks have resulted in confirmed fatalities among several North Korean officers. Furthermore, credible sources indicate that a number of North Korean soldiers have defected, suggesting potential issues with morale or dissatisfaction within the ranks. This development points to a possible undercurrent of tension or unrest among North Korean forces deployed in Ukraine. Strengthening ties between North Korea and Russia. North Korea's involvement in Ukraine reflects not only tactical maneuvers, but also a larger strategy of alliance building with Russia. In a significant diplomatic gesture, North Korea's foreign minister recently traveled to Moscow to meet with Russian Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov, signaling a strengthening of ties between the two nations. Reports suggest that the talks went beyond formalities, focusing on critical areas of mutual interest. Among the top items on the agenda was North Korea's push to obtain advanced satellite technology from Russia, a development that could mark a significant leap in North Korea's intelligence and defense capabilities. The potential acquisition of this technology from Russia represents more than just a technological upgrade for North Korea. It's a strategic advancement that could greatly enhance its surveillance abilities, increasing its autonomy in security and military matters. For China, this growing North Korea-Russia cooperation is concerning, as it reduces Pyongyang's dependency on Beijing, thereby weakening China's leverage over its unpredictable ally. North Korea's alignment with Russia introduces a new dynamic in East Asia, challenging China's long-standing influence and placing Beijing in a delicate balancing act as it navigates its diplomatic relationship with both North Korea and Russia. This situation presents China with a strategic conundrum. Each step that North Korea takes toward greater self-sufficiency in defense erodes China's influence on the Korean peninsula. Beijing is now faced with the challenge of recalibrating its regional approach to ensure stability, while addressing the shifting allegiances of its neighboring countries. Diplomatic pressure on China. As North Korea's involvement in the Russia-Ukraine conflict deepens, the United States has intensified its diplomatic efforts to push China into taking a more proactive role in restraining North Korea. Washington has been vocal in its appeals, urging Beijing to leverage its influence over Pyongyang and prevent further escalation. This diplomatic pressure reflects the growing concern among global powers, as North Korea's actions in Ukraine pose a potential flashpoint that could destabilize not only East Asia, but also broader international relations. The stakes in this situation are high for both the United States and South Korea. Both nations are anxious to avoid a scenario in which North Korean provocations trigger a larger, uncontrollable conflict in the region. South Korea, in particular, faces difficult choices, as continued provocations from the North could push Seoul to reassess its military posture. In a significant departure from its cautious stance, South Korea might consider supplying military aid to Ukraine as a countermeasure against North Korea's support for Russia. This shift would represent a major strategic adjustment for South Korea, and its ripple effects would be felt far beyond the Korean peninsula. For China, the pressure is mounting as it finds itself in a delicate position. While it values North Korea as a strategic ally and buffer state against the U.S. and its regional allies, China also has a vested interest in regional stability. An escalation in North Korea's actions risks upsetting the fragile balance in East Asia, complicating China's relationships with South Korea and Japan, and potentially drawing the U.S. further into the region's security affairs. China is thus caught between maintaining its alliance with North Korea and responding to international calls for action. The potential economic and diplomatic consequences of siding too closely with North Korea weigh heavily on China's calculations. With the United States, South Korea, and other allies watching closely, China's actions, or lack thereof, will not only shape the future of North Korea's involvement in Ukraine, but will also influence China's standing on the global stage. This diplomatic push highlights the interconnectedness of regional and international security, with China at the center of a tense and complex web of alliances, pressures, and strategic interests. North Korea's recent missile tests and China's concerns. China's unease over North Korea's military developments has only intensified following two recent missile tests, showcasing North Korean missiles reportedly capable of reaching the U.S. mainland. These tests highlight North Korea's advancing missile technology and signal its willingness to defy international norms, posing a direct challenge to China's long-standing goal of maintaining regional stability. This new level of unpredictability could force China to take a firmer stance on North Korea, something Beijing has long hesitated to do. North Korea's missile tests are not isolated incidents. They form part of an escalating series of provocations demonstrating the country's ambitions to solidify its position as a nuclear power. These actions not only enhance North Korea's leverage on the world stage, but also increase the likelihood of heightened military responses from the United States and its allies, raising the risk of an arms race in East Asia. For China, this is particularly concerning, as a strengthened U.S. military presence in nearby territories would challenge China's influence in the region and could even force Beijing to reconsider its own defense strategies. Traditionally, China has supported North Korea economically and diplomatically under the assumption that such support would ensure Pyongyang's cooperation and maintain a stable status quo on the Korean peninsula. Yet, recent events indicate North Korea's growing independence and confidence in its own military capabilities, a shift that could undermine China's leverage over its neighbor and diminish its role as a regional mediator. If North Korea feels secure in its military prowess, it may act independently of China's preferences, complicating Beijing's efforts to manage the region's security dynamics. This shift places China in a delicate situation. Pressing too hard could damage diplomatic ties with Pyongyang, while inaction might embolden North Korea and push it toward even riskier alliances, such as a closer partnership with Russia. As China weighs its options, it may consider strengthening diplomatic pressure on North Korea, or even adjusting economic support policies. However, these actions come with their own set of risks, as overreaching could push North Korea further away or provoke more aggressive responses. In summary, North Korea's recent missile tests have intensified global tensions, placing China in a challenging position. China must now balance its desire for regional stability with the need to address North Korea's growing unpredictability. The next steps China takes will be critical, as the world closely watches for any shift in Beijing's approach toward its increasingly assertive neighbor. What lies ahead for China, North Korea, and Russia? As these complex alliances and strategic moves unfold, China finds itself in a challenging and delicate position. Its vision for stability in East Asia is increasingly jeopardized, caught between the unpredictable actions of its longtime ally North Korea and the strengthening ties between Pyongyang and Moscow. These developments raise essential questions about China's response. Will Beijing choose to intervene and attempt to rein in North Korea's assertive moves, or will it take a step back, potentially risking greater regional instability and shifts in power dynamics? The stakes are high, as China's actions could determine the course of diplomatic relationships and regional stability in the coming years. With North Korea's ambitions growing and its reliance on Russia deepening, Beijing may face mounting pressure to assert its influence over Pyongyang. However, any move China makes will require a careful balancing of its strategic interests and its commitment to maintaining peace. This evolving situation is complex, with many potential outcomes that could reshape the regional landscape. As China, North Korea, and Russia continue to navigate these turbulent waters, the world watches closely, mindful of the broader implications for global stability and security. Thank you for tuning in to this analysis. If you found this breakdown insightful, don't forget to like and subscribe to Eagle Discovery for more in-depth coverage of the critical events shaping our world. Stay connected with us as we continue to explore the most pressing stories in global politics and diplomacy.